Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Dalton Gentry, and I'm here for today for something I normally don't do, but it's been suggested that I do more of. I have an original tag for you. So as you may notice, we've been doing quite a few tags on Tuesday throughout the year in 2019, and Adrian's taken quite a bit of time developing some new tags, some new things, new formats that we've been playing with. But I decided, hey, why not, jump out there, make sure I get one in, at least for January, and do a bit of a classic style tag. Very simple, very quick, very book related. Thus, the Lost Generation tag was born. Now, if you do watch us here quite a bit on Strip Cover Lit, you will know that we are big fans of what is considered the Lost Generation of writers, the Ernest Hemingways, the Scott Fitzgeralds, Ezra Pound, T.S. Eliot, the whole works there. That group that was coined by Gertrude Stein as the Lost Generation. And as we are planning to read A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway very soon, I kind of wanted to play about this, like maybe get a little bit of anticipation built up here for that particular novel. Thus, The Lost Generation. So, Dalton, how does this work? Glad you asked. So, what we will be doing is I will be naming off a few famous authors, we'll go authors, from the Lost Generation, and how they contributed to that generation of writing, and thus linking a booktuber as that character in building our own Lost Generation of booktubers. So, I have 5 for you today. Each 5 will be a little different, and each 5 that I am tagging, I would hope, is going to do this as well. So, first and foremost, Ernest Hemingway. Brazen. Bold. Incredibly unique in style, and therefore an amazing asset to Booktube. I have come up with Juan from Just One Reader. Now, I say unique in style because Juan does something that I greatly appreciate. He does a lot of reviews on things that aren't normally covered on Booktube. We've had a lot of great conversations with Juan in the past about, some things that we agreed upon in certain novels, things that we could talk a little bit about on novels. But the reason I really think Juan is unique is he brings a new light to Booktube, does a lot of great reviews. I believe he did one very recently on The God Delusion, which is not something that you very often would see on Booktube, but something that I can very much appreciate. And I also think it's very bold to do some things differently. We try to pride ourselves on Strip Cover Lit by doing things differently. We don't do the standard young adult readers Booktube. We do a lot of classics. We try to do a lot of poetry. And that's a bold strategy. It's different, and I'm about it. So thank you, Juan. Next, Scott Fitzgerald. Not that I have a soft spot for Scott Fitzgerald in my heart, but he is one of my all-time favorite. And Scott was very introspective. Scott would make you think about things that you always knew, but you didn't realize you knew until you thought about them. And that's an important skill. So this booktuber helps us discover things that are kind of hidden within the text. Things that we could definitely pick out if we look into. And really, I think just a very quality booktuber. Very down-to-earth, very friendly, very much as I would see Scott Fitzgerald being. And that would be Simon from Savage Reads. Now, Simon does a lot of different things on Booktube. Some of his series aren't 100% book-related as you would consider standard Booktube. He does a lot of Let's Talk discussions that really make you sit down and think about the text. And I think that's a great thing. Adds a great bit to Booktube and makes this more academic than just a YouTube social club, if you would. It gives us an opportunity to sit and think about the text, discuss the text, which I think is a great thing when you're talking about literature. What does the text mean to you? It's more than just words on a page. That's what makes reading phenomenal. Moving on. Gertrude Stein. I love me some Gertrude Stein. And Gertrude Stein was the expert. She was the one that you went to when you had a question. She was the one that would help you make your writing better, help you make your art better, help you improve as a person. And that is Steve Donahue. Steve Donahue is a man who has been about this business for a very long time. Much before Booktube was a thing, Steve was definitely cranking out the book reviews, and that's great. That's great to have that level of expertise and that level of knowledge here available to us on Booktube, because a lot of us have never worked in the book publishing world. We've never worked with hard literary reviews, And Steve, therefore, brings a new light to Booktube. He gives us an opportunity to see what it's like in the real world to do this. Not just here in our living rooms, our fancy little rooms we just got done upstairs. Steve gives us an opportunity to really see literary criticism brought to life. And I think that's great. I think that's what Booktube should strive to be, this new frontier of literary criticism. And Steve is a man who's been there and done that. And trust me, if you ever have a question on a text, ever have a question about your writing, need anything, Steve Donahue is the man to go to. He will get you there, he will help you understand it, he will improve you as a person, and that is an amazing gift. Next up. T.S. Eliot. Now, T.S. Eliot, if you have ever read A Movable Feast, was actually someone that Hemingway was wanting to assist. He was doing the Bel Esprit for T.S. Eliot because he believed in him. T.S. Eliot was such a gifted person and had so much talent and potential that Hemingway saw that and knew he was just waiting for his break. So the T.S. Eliot here is the one just waiting to break out. This is a small booktuber, someone you may not be 100% familiar with just yet, but somebody that I believe has a ton of potential, and it brings so much to the community, and just needs that subscriber boost. They're just getting there, they're just getting started in Booktube, it's in their first year perhaps, and I think bringing attention to someone along those lines is a great thing, because that's how Booktube grows. And this, for me, would be Mark from Words Everywhere, excuse me. That's incredibly hard to say. But we've had a lot of good discussions with Mark in our comments section. He is always willing to contribute to any discussion that we're having, whether he agrees or disagrees. But I think he brings a great foresight into Booktube. He's very analytical when he does any of his videos, very fun and entertaining to watch, and brings just honestly a professional tone to Booktube. I sit down and the man could tell me anything. I'm going to believe him 100%. So I think that's a great thing. I wish Mark all the best of luck in his Booktube venture. And I really just hope everybody takes a moment to subscribe to him, because I really think he has a lot of potential of being a big booktuber, not just a great booktuber. Here's to you, Mark. And finally, it's going to be a one cigarette video. Ezra Pound. Not a lot of people know Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound was did things a little differently, kind of marched to the tune of his own drum. And this booktuber, I believe, is in a class of their own. They're bringing something different to Booktube, and something that's different that gives us such quality. And I believe that is Jen Campbell. Now, we used to talk quite a bit with Jen Campbell. We did a couple reviews on her text specifically, which is why I want to bestow upon her Ezra Pound. Because Jen Campbell is not only a booktuber, but she's an author. She's a very prolific and successful author. And I think that is an interesting perspective to bring into Booktube. Somebody who is not only, talking books with us, doing the book hauls, doing reviews, but saying, hey, I'm a writer as well. This is my thing. And I think that's great. I think that brings, again, very much with Steve Donahue, an element of this outside professional real world. That it's really a great contribution to have on Booktube, and we're all very lucky to have Jen, have all of Jen's videos at our disposal. Just to actually, sit down and hear her thoughts on things, her thoughts on reading, thoughts on writing. It's a great opportunity. So, there you have it. The Lost Generation book tag. My God, I'm losing the power of speech. This is terrible. The Lost Generation book tag. 5 booktubers who I believe are worthy of note, who I'd like to mention, and I would say build our Lost Generation pantheon here on Booktube. So very simple. If you were tagged in this video, then I would like to see you do this tag. Let's build this, let's make it a thing, and if you weren't tagged in this video, let's do it anyway. Let's build that, pick your 5, pick your Hemingway, your Fitzgerald, your Stein, your Eliot, your Pound, and let's hear about it. Let's talk about the Booktube community a little bit, and let's just do a good old-fashioned classic tag. So if you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a like, always appreciate it. And as always, if you'd like to help us create more great content like this here on Strip Cover Lit, there is a link, as always, to our Patreon to be found in the description below.